Hello everybody, we are here for week 8 and we're going to be doing a preview and giving my picks for this week about halfway through the season. So if you are new and you want to see me talk about the second half of the season, please make sure to subscribe. If not, no big deal. Now let's get into it. So the first game of the week will be Friday night, and this will be a divisional clash between the Hamilton Tiger Cats traveling to Ottawa to play the Red Blacks. This one wouldn't have seemed that important a couple weeks ago when Hamilton started off the year 0-3. Calgary either started the year, not Calgary, Ottawa either started the year 1-2 or 0-3, I can't remember. But now they both have a couple wins over their past few weeks. Ottawa now sits at 3-3 on the season, and this is a big game for second in the East. I don't think that the Tiger Cats would be able to clinch or claim second in the moment if they won this game, but for Ottawa, if they won, they would be 4-3 on the season and post a winning record, probably for the first time in a really long time at this point in the year. As for the game, you have probably Taylor Powell starting for the Tiger Cats after I think not a bad start against the Toronto Argonauts. Ended up having a rushing touchdown, made some good throws. Just ultimately the Argos, receiving core was dangerous. As for Ottawa, they're coming off of a big win over the Stampeders in overtime back-to-back OTWs. This is going to be Crum versus Powell, and I think at the moment I'm going to be picking the Red Blacks. I like what they've got on defense. Obviously, this group has got Dandridge, it's got pick sixes in back-to-back weeks. They've got a good, just defensive group that I do think should be able to handle what Hamilton has to offer, especially Powell if they're just going to run a lot of short routes. That could be an issue to try to gain yards, especially if James Butler is not going to be very impactful. As for Ottawa, again, with the read option they've got going with Crum and the fact that he is so versatile and he was actually able to make some good throws, I think I'm going to be picking the Red Blacks to go to 4-3. I feel like I might be picking with my heart because I have a soft spot for Ottawa, but if Hamilton wins, it's no big deal. I do this for fun. The second game of the week will be on Saturday, the TDA Touchdown Atlantic game, as the Saskatchewan Roughriders travel to Halifax to play the Toronto Argonauts, the home side. This will be really good after we saw a pretty good game last year, if I remember right, between these two sides. The teams obviously are a little bit different. Mason Fine is going to be starting for the Roughriders, and then you have Chad Kelly starting for the Argonauts. No idea if Toronto has ever started the season 6-0 in the CFL era, but they very well could do so this week, as the Rough Riders are going to be the underdogs in this game. However, I will say for the Rough Riders, they're able to play very tough against a BC Lions team. Now, granted, they obviously were without Vernon Adams Jr., but they still have a very good defense. It was able to limit the Riders' running game, and they still kept it relatively close in the third quarter, only losing by 10 in the fourth, where things unraveled a little bit for them. But in this one, obviously, you're going to have to see what happens between the Rough Riders DBs and the Argos receivers, because that is very well going to decide what happens here. And I guess how well you can contain AJ Ouellette, because he has been an absolute monster this year. The Riders have a defense that I do think is going to be able to do one or the other, but to be able to do both is going to be hard and something we haven't seen a lot of teams do this year. So for this game, I'm going to be picking the Argos to win. I just simply think that, hey, they are with quarterback that's looked really good this year, coaching staff that's been here for 3 years, defense has been able to make some timely plays, and they have an offense all around that has been incredible. Boris Beatty there doing his thing. The Argos just feel like the right pick in this TDA game. Then the third game of the week, you have the BC Lions playing the Edmonton Elks a little bit later on Saturday. It's going to be 3 hours later at 7. BC looking to be the team to not be the first team to lose to Edmonton. Edmonton looking to avoid an 0-8 start. This is going to be interesting because is Vernon Adams Jr. going to be playing for this game, or will it be Dane Evans? Also, will Taylor Cornelius look like he did in that first half against Winnipeg, where maybe things weren't exactly perfect, they weren't getting points, but he was able to get some big plays with his legs that set up some scoring opportunities. This defense is really good for the Lions. They contain the running game really well. They're able to make plays. They've got so many guys on this core that have just been able to limit things. You've got veterans, you've got younger guys, you've got a lot of good players, just defensive line, the secondary, you've got the linebacking group that is really, really good. I don't want to be a guy that, as a Lions fan, salivates too much talking about this team, but they are a really good side. They really only has one bad loss on the year. Their only loss on the year against the Argos. As for Edmonton, this is another game at home where they try to end this drought. They played, not as bad as I thought they would against Winnipeg. At the end of the day, though, I do have to pick the Lions to win this one. I don't think that they want to be the first team to lose to the Elks, and I do think that the Lions with Evans are in a better situation than even Cornelius on Edmonton. That Evans being the backup really doesn't mean a whole lot because he was a starter last year for Hamilton. Mixed results, but I thought he played pretty well last week for the Lions. Edmonton going to lose this one here, and I do think it has the potential to be ugly. Final game of the week is Sunday. You have the Calgary Stampeders traveling to Montreal to play the Alouettes at 7. Calgary dropped heartbreaker to the Redblacks in a back-and-forth game in overtime, and the Alouettes started off the year 2-0, now 2-3 on the season. You've got the Stampeders who have the potential to be a pretty good side. I picked them to finish second in the West to start the year because they went 12-6 last season. They have a lot of talent. They didn't lose their games by a lot of points. Felt right for them to be a good team. Through 6 games, they've got 4 losses. Maybe they're not the team that I thought they were. Yes, they've dealt with injuries, but at the same time, through the first 4 games, especially, I don't think they looked overly impressive, especially in the offensive end. Have a win against an Ottawa side that was led by Nick Arbuckle, if not mistaken. So obviously, things are kind of looking how they are there. As for Montreal, again, they are a side. Started off the year hot. Lost 3 in a row. Mind you, that was to 3 good teams. Winnipeg, BC, Toronto, but those are still losses. You have to find a way to beat teams that are projected to be better than you, at least sometimes. Now, Calgary was projected to be better than Montreal. At least I think a lot of people expected that to start off this year. But here we are, both teams through the first 7 weeks of the season just have 2 wins. Who's going to get that pivotal week 8 win, the 3rd win of the season? I am picking Montreal here. They just added John Lemon. I'm not sure if he'll play this week, but in general, they've been able to get after quarterbacks. Mayer is not known for a crazy amount of mobility. He can get out there a little bit, but for this one, if their defense can play well, this Owls team has impressed me enough that I'm going to say that they take the win at home. I think they're coming off of a bye, so they've got the preparation. Calgary, of course, is pretty motivated. I think we could be set for a good game, especially if Mayer can continue to hit that deep ball like he has the past 2 weeks. But what are your picks for Week 8 in the CFL? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe and have a great night.